The coal mining towns scattered throughout Appalachia hold secrets that go far deeper than their abandoned shafts and crumbling tipples. When the mines closed and the companies moved on, they left behind more than just empty buildings and rusted equipment. They left behind something else, something that still walks those hollow streets after dark. Tonight, we bring you 10 true accounts from people who encountered the unexplainable in these forgotten places. These are their stories. But before we unveil this story, comment below where you are watching from, and if you enjoy this story with a moment of joy, don't forget to subscribe. Tonight's first story comes from Marcus Webb, who worked as a surveyor for a land development company based out of Charleston, West Virginia. In the fall of 2019, Marcus was assigned to map out what remained of Thurmond, an old coal town that had once housed over 1,000 workers, but now stood almost completely abandoned, with a population that had dwindled to just 5 official residents. The company Marcus worked for was exploring the possibility of historical renovation, turning the decaying buildings into a tourist attraction. It seemed like a straightforward job. It wasn't. Marcus arrived in Thurmond on a Tuesday morning in late October. The fog hung thick between the mountains, and the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway Depot stood like a tombstone marking the town's death. He'd read the history before arriving. Thurmond had been a boom town in the early 1900s where coal money flowed like water and the trains never stopped running. By the 1950s, the seams had played out, the miners left, and the town became a ghost of itself. What Marcus hadn't read was why several previous survey teams had refused to return after their initial visits. He would find out soon enough. The first day passed without incident. Marcus photographed buildings, took measurements, and noted structural decay in his tablet. The town was eerie in its stillness. No birds sang, no wind moved through the empty windows. Just silence pressing down from the mountains on either side. By 4 in the afternoon, the autumn sun was already sinking behind the ridge, and Marcus decided to call it a day. He'd rented a room at a bed and breakfast about 20 miles up the road, but as he was packing up his equipment, he noticed something. One of the old company houses on the hillside had a basement window that wasn't boarded up like the others. His curiosity got the better of him. The house tilted slightly on its foundation, and the porch groaned under Marcus's weight as he approached. The front door hung open, swollen with moisture and age. Inside, the wallpaper had peeled away in long strips, and the floorboards were soft with rot. He made his way carefully to the kitchen, where a doorway led down to the basement. The stairs looked stable enough, old oak that had held up better than the pine flooring above. Marcus clicked on his flashlight and descended. The basement was larger than he expected, stretching the full length of the house with stone walls that wept moisture. The air smelled of earth and something else, something mineral and old, like the inside of a cave. Mining equipment lay scattered across the floor, picks, a rusted hand cart, coils of rope gone brittle with age. This had been someone's personal workshop, Marcus realized. A miner who'd brought his work home. Then he noticed the hole. In the far corner of the basement, partially hidden behind a collapsed shelf, was an opening in the floor. It looked hand-dug, the edges rough and uneven, descending into darkness that his flashlight couldn't penetrate. Marcus approached carefully, his boots scuffing against the stone floor. When he aimed his light down into the hole, he could see it was a shaft, maybe 3 feet wide, with crude ladder rungs hammered into the side. It dropped down at least 30 feet before his light gave out. Some miner had been digging his own tunnel, probably trying to find a coal seam on his own time, hoping to strike it rich without sharing the profits with the company. It wasn't uncommon back then. Marcus was about to leave when he heard it. A knock. 3 sharp raps, metal on stone, echoing up from somewhere deep in that shaft. He froze, his light still pointed down into the darkness. His rational mind immediately began searching for explanations. settling foundation. Debris falling, water dripping. But then it came again. Knock, 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 deliberate, measured, the same rhythm. Someone signaling. His heart rate picked up, but Marcus called down into the shaft. "Hello? Is someone down there?" His voice echoed back at him, distorted and strange. No response came, just silence stretching out for 10, 15, 20 seconds. He was about to convince himself he'd imagined it when the knocking started again. But this time it was different. It was faster, more urgent. Knock, 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 knock. The rhythm was frantic now, desperate. And it was coming from multiple directions, not just from the shaft directly below him, but from the walls, from beneath the floor where he stood. The entire basement filled with the sound of hammering, metal striking stone, the noise rising to a crescendo that made Marcus's ears ring. He stumbled backward, his flashlight swinging wildly, casting shadows that seemed to move with their own purpose. The knocking followed him across the floor, tracking his movement, the sound always loudest, directly beneath his feet. It was as if dozens of miners were trapped in the earth below, all hammering at once, trying to break through. Marcus ran for the stairs. His boot caught on a piece of debris and he went down hard, his flashlight skittering across the stone floor and winking out. In the sudden darkness, the knocking stopped. The silence was worse than the noise. Marcus could hear his own breathing, ragged and panicked, and the thunder of his heartbeat. Then, from somewhere in the blackness, came a new sound. Scraping, something climbing. He could hear the metallic ring of hands or tools grasping those crude ladder rungs in the shaft, pulling something up from below. Marcus didn't wait to see what it was. He scrambled on his hands and knees across the floor until he found his flashlight, slapped it twice until it flickered back to life, and ran up those basement stairs like his life depended on it. He didn't stop running until he reached his truck, threw his equipment in the bed, and tore out of Thurmond fast enough to kick up a spray of gravel. In his rearview mirror, he could see the old house standing there in the fading light. And in that basement window, the one that wasn't boarded up, he saw a pale smudge of something looking out. Something that had climbed up from below. Marcus called his supervisor that night and quit. No explanation, no 2 weeks' notice, just quit. He never went back to Thurmond. But 6 months later, he heard from a friend, still with the company, that they'd sent another survey team. When that team explored the same house, they found the basement shaft had been filled in, packed solid with dirt and rocks, as if it had never been there at all. But the team reported hearing sounds in other buildings. Knocking, always knocking. The project was abandoned. Some places Marcus knows now should stay abandoned.